Hey friends, it's Mike. I wanted to share my initial thoughts on the new edition of Billy's Back and then cover some Paul is Dead clues that I have not put in a video before. I am about a quarter of the way through the new edition of Billy's Back and I was pleasantly surprised at the information Tom has put forth in the footnotes. When Tom and I traded emails back in late March, he was in the process of updating Billy's Back and I was just about ready to release my documentary, Did the Beatles Write All Their Own Music?, which I uploaded on April 1st of this year. I had sent Tom a preview of the presentation and he wrote me back and said that the video would help to speed up the rate and pace of Billy's disclosure. I wasn't sure what that meant exactly at the time, but after making my way through the book, I now know. Apparently, my research on how the music was created opened the door for Billy and Tom to be more specific about the band's songwriting. Needless to say, the footnotes in Billy's Back put a big smile on my face. Now, as I've said many times over, Tom and I do not work together. That being said, because of my Beatles work, we have communicated periodically over the past 4 years. Our discussions are centered around my questions regarding specific passages in memoirs as I was unlayering the narrative. As many of you know, Tom is restricted to what he can say because of non-disclosure agreements. But when he can answer my questions, he has done so, and when he cannot, he will let me know. For example, I asked Tom once if he has met with Billy personally to discuss the book, and he told me that's not something he can talk about. And I suspect the reason is because, first, it is in the agreement he signed that he cannot discuss the relationship he has with Billy, and two, there needs to be plausible deniability to walk the fine line between nonfiction and historical fiction, which is how the book is categorized, although with the release of the 9 after 909 edition of memoirs, Billy has become bolder with his statements that the book is truthful. The way to approach memoirs is like solving a giant puzzle. It's a starting point that drops clues throughout the book, which an intrepid person will pick up on and then go outside the book to solve and complete the puzzle. An example of this is what I covered in my documentary when I discussed pages 350 and 351 of memoirs, which led me to watch the George Martin documentary produced by George Martin, and also led me to read Dr. Coleman's book on the Committee of 300. So memoirs is a source that points the reader to other source material to complete the story of what happened and who the players are. Now going back to the footnotes, I was expecting the notes in the new Billy's Back to pretty much align with the footnotes in the 9 after 909 edition of memoirs with some minor updating. However, the updated footnotes are pretty significant in my opinion. There are footnotes regarding the music and authorship which validates what I put forth in my documentary, and some of these footnotes leave very little to the imagination. Here's an example from page 39 of the new edition of Billy's Back so you can get a sense of what I'm talking about. On page 39, the note says, "We treat each Paul song as if he authored its sentiments. That's partly true. Although highly focused on the work at hand, George Martin also showed genuine interest in what John and Paul were experiencing. On occasion, John and Paul would share concerns or feelings that could be worked into songs for them. Nevertheless, working for Tavistock, the lead songwriter sometimes understood the situation more clearly than they understood it themselves, and they meaning John and Paul. Accordingly, he wrote what John and Paul would feel if they fully comprehended the situation. We Can Work It Out partly originated from Paul's own concerns, but included layers of meaning that he, meaning Paul, could not grasp." Notice the footnote did not say Paul wrote or composed We Can Work It Out. The footnote also does not use the plural songwriters, which would mean John and Paul, but uses the singular form songwriter, which is referring to another person who composed the song. Was this other person George Martin? Was it Theodore Adorno? And why do I mention Adorno? Check out the footnote on page 23. This is just one small example of information I found to be very significant in the updated version of Billy's Back. I don't want to preempt Tom selling the book, so I'll leave it there for now. In 3 months or so, I will do a video going through what I consider to be the major revelations in the book that go above and beyond what we find in memoirs. The second item is the clip of George Martin speaking with Billy. A number of astute subscribers picked up on this dialogue when I used the clip in other videos. The dialogue is subtle and goes by quickly if you're not looking for it. The clip is from the George Martin documentary produced by George Martin, and George is talking to Billy, and listen as Martin says to Billy when they walked into the studio. Why would George Martin say they if Billy was biological Paul, since Paul was there? George Martin is obviously retelling the story to someone who was not there. Let's take a listen.
It was all really Brian's fault, because nobody told me that, when they walked in. When they walked in. This fella came in, this little chap, and I said, "You're our drummer?" I said, "No, he's not, that's your drummer, we're paying good money for that fella." And, we had the best drummer you get in
Andy White,
yeah,
who will never live it down.
The clip I'm going to play next was in a video I did in May of this year, where Jimmy Page was speaking at Oxford back in 2017. During the Q&A, he was asked about the backmasking in Stairway to Heaven, and in his explanation, Jimmy circles back to the Beatles and the Paul is Dead conspiracy. When he discusses the Paul is Dead rumor, Jimmy engages in a great example of masterfully speaking, as he emphasizes certain wording to bring the truth to the surface. That's if someone picks up on it. I'll play the clip first without commenting, and then I will break it down.
Do you think that's why people did that thing when they played Stairway to Heaven backwards and said that you were talking about Satan?
Yeah, well, I'm going to go straight back to the Beatles here, because there was a time when somebody wrote a thesis about Paul McCartney being dead, and Paul is dead. And if you played back the records, I'm very serious, it's crazy, but if you played back the records, there was something which said Paul is dead. And so then they started to play back all manner of records, and of course we were going to be main candidates for it. And somebody said, "Oh, it says My Sweet Satan in it." And I thought, oh gosh, it's hard enough writing the music one way round, rather than that way.
Okay, so did you catch it? Here's what Jimmy said. There was a time when somebody wrote a thesis about Paul McCartney being dead, and Paul is dead. And if you play it back, the records, I'm very serious here, it's crazy. His emphasis was nuanced, but it is there. He emphasized, and Paul is dead, which he structured as a statement, and he did the same when he said, I'm very serious here. So Jimmy told us, Paul is dead, and he was being serious. And then he tucks the truth back into the box when he ends his explanation with, it's crazy. Let's play the clip again with different ears and understanding.
Do you think that's why people did that thing when they played Stairway to Heaven backwards and said that you were talking about Satan?
Yeah, well, I'm going to go straight back to the Beatles here, because there was a time when somebody wrote a thesis about Paul McCartney being dead, and Paul is dead. And if you played back the records, I'm very serious, it's crazy, but if you played back the records, there was something which said Paul is dead. And so then they started to play back all manner of records, and of course we were going to be main candidates for it.
The next clip is Billy on Jimmy Fallon's show, and the conversation started off with them talking about Ringo being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and then segues into Jimmy doing Beatle impersonations with an in-our-face Paul is Dead exchange at the very end. Let's take a listen.
Big news, it was just announced that Ringo Starr is getting inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Finally. Yeah. It's fantastic. Yeah. Really, yeah. He's the last Beatle to be inducted, right? Everyone has kind of a Ringo impression.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, do you do a Ringo?
Oh, no, you do.
Well, he's always talks like that, it's peace and love,
I mean, that's the thing, when people, when they do impressions of us, they think we're all talk like that, it's...
well, that's what I do. When I do you, I have to slip into you, because you're very cheery and hello, and you do that, and you do that, I'm very excited, and you come out, and then, it's like that, and sometimes you do this.
Do I do that?
And then, yeah. You do that, and you think about, what he's thinking about it, He's thinking about something. And then
Ringo's very, deeper and very hello, how are you, like that.
Oh, yeah.
And then John was very, talking like that, almost like he's talking at you. He's very quickly talking like that one.
That's
And
right,
George,
very good,
George
yeah.
is a tricky Beatle.
Yeah.
tricky voice. I can't really do George. I can't really do George, no, at all. But you, I was going to say, you do a fantastic Paul McCartney. You are really one of the best Paul McCartney impersonator, I mean, ever.
Well,
I was going to say, you do a fantastic Paul McCartney. You are really one of the best Paul McCartney impersonator, I mean, ever.
well.
Before I wrap up, I'm going to play 2 clips of the Beatles introducing songs from 2 live shows. The first is from their Shea Stadium concert, and the second is from their 1966 Japan tour. The Beatles concerts ran approximately 30 minutes in length, and the set list usually consisted of playing 10 to 12 songs, with 11 songs being a popular number. These clips were originally considered to be included in my big presentation, Did the Beatles Write All Their Own Music?, but it ended up not making the final cut because I wanted to review a lot more footage, which would have delayed the documentary further, and the presentation already had a 4.5-hour runtime. So I set the segment aside and figured I would present this piece in a future upload, and this is that video. Here's the premise. Whenever I watch and listen to old footage of the Beatles playing live, I always found the way that they introduced their songs to be odd. And what I mean by that is I don't hear them introducing songs by saying, here's a song I wrote, or here's a song that we wrote, or a song that George wrote, etc. Instead, the songs are introduced in a generic way. We hear, we would like to carry on with a song now. We would like to do a song from our last album or new album. This song is from our new single. Here's a song from our film. The next song we would like to sing is, and fill in the blank. Of course, I have my thoughts on why the lads use this wording, but I have not watched and listened to every piece of concert footage out there, so if you come across a clip where the boys introduce the songs by naming the composer, meaning John, Paul, or George, please leave a comment below with a link. The clips I'm going to play are audio only because YouTube blocks the video content due to Apple copyright claims. And with that, let's take a listen.
One of our finest newspapermen, the #1 showman of the world, and most important of all, a truly great American, Mr. Ed Sullivan.
Thank you very much, Sid. Now, ladies and gentlemen, honored by their country, decorated by their queen, and loved here in America, here are the Beatles.
Hello, hello, hello. With a song which was one of our records a few months ago, and this song is called I Feel Fine.
We'd like to do a song off our LP album, Beatles 6, I think. Can you hear me? Hello? And it's called Dizzy Miss Lizzie.
Thank you very much. The next song that we'd like to sing now is one which was our last one record, the one before this. And the record, this is called Ticket to Ride. We'd like to introduce you at great expense, brought specially from the other side of the earth, for you tonight, singing a song of our new album called Act Naturally Ringo! And this summer song is a one which you had a hubby you like, and this I call Can't Buy Me Love. I can't buy me love.
We'd like to do a slow song now, and it's also off Beatles 6 or something. I don't really know what it's off. I haven't got it. It's a waltz, this one. Remember that. Anyway, the song's called Hopefully Enough. Ah, look at that. It's called Babies in Black. Next song we like to sing. When George is ready, we'd like to do the title song from the first film we made. Remember that? The black and white one. And it's called A Hard Day's Night.
Now we'd like to carry on with the song, which is the title song from our new film. This is our latest record here, and the song is called Help! Help! I need this song. Will have to be our last song for tonight. Yes, well, we go home, you see. So, we'd like to say to everybody, thank you very much, and good night. See ya. With this song. So clap your hands with this one, okay? You tell lies thinking I can't see. You can't cry 'cause you never let me. Thank you very much. Thank you. Domo. Thank you. And hello, good evening, and everything. And we'd like to do a song now, which is off one of our LPs. And this is a song which is sung by, our guitarist George. It's called If I Needed Someone.
We'd like to sing another song, I think. This song was it a single? Yeah, this song was a single over here, maybe. And the song's called Day Tripper.
Thank you. The next song we like to do is called I Feel Fine. Thank you very much. Next song we like to do is from Help LP, and it's called Yesterday.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. And we'd like to carry on now with a song which is entitled quite simply Ringo.
Thank you, Ringo. We'd like to do another record that's a single record. I never know, you know. I never know these things, you know. And this record is called Hello. It's called No One. 2, 3, 4. He's a
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. We'd like to sing now a song which is our new record here in Japan. And we'd like to sing it now. It's called Paperback Writer. This next song now will have to be our last song for today because we've got to go back. So we'd like everybody to join in and clap your hands and stamp your feet, anything like that. And this song is called Goodbye, We'll See You Later. You tell lies thinking I can't
Here she comes, walking down the street. Long-legged lady Yes, I like what I see. My candy baby. Come on. I'm holding her tight from head to toe. A dream come true, rocking nice and slow. Her eyes shine with wonder, a heart full of soul. She shakes